I want to talk about the sexual exploitation, mainly of women and children. And, men do get raped as well, and exploited as well. And I understand that. People like gold diggers, or honestly, they're female pedophiles and rapists, as well as male pedophiles and rapists, and I'm well aware of that. In sex trafficking rings, both females and males are involved in the enslavement of children. So, both genders are capable of these atrocious things, but I want to focus on an abuse of male authority today because, honestly, I want to reap what I sow, and I crave male authority, but I cannot trust male authority because oftentimes it is abused. So I don't have a problem with male dominance in society or male leadership, but I have a problem with the abuse of male leadership. I have a problem with leaders who do atrocious acts behind closed doors and then put on a smile and a pretty face or a brave face for the rest of the world. That is unacceptable. I just want to talk about, some hush-hush things that go on behind closed doors. So, you hear songs and you hear stories about girls who get drugged and raped while they're unconscious. But no one ever thinks about what leads up to that. So when you think about what leads up to it, there are people right now talking to each other about how they plan on drugging and raping a girl. They buy those drugs from somewhere. People make money off of selling date rape drugs that are simply for the purpose of raping unconscious, helpless, to defend themselves people. So, there are like lots of hush-hush conversations that go on behind closed doors of trafficking and the buying and selling of humans, of how to molest, how to rape. Rapists give each other tips on what to do, or how to treat somebody in order to oppress them, or how to brainwash people into believing that they are obligated to do sex acts for people. And a lot of this brainwashing stems from media. A lot of problems with children believing that it's okay or normal to have sex, or believing that it's okay or normal to display rape behaviorisms, to act rapey. A lot of it comes from, pornography and the normalization of aggressive rape or aggressive sex. And a lot of it stems from the normalization of sex just through songs and through movies, because, you watch movies about kids partying in high school and, having sex and having boyfriends, and it's glamorized. But I'm here to say that it is not normal to do drugs when you were a kid. It is not normal to have sex when you're a kid. The average age that American teens lose their virginities, having the freedoms that we have, is between 18 and 24. We are not obligated to have sex with anybody. And the kids who get tricked into having sex, I feel very bad for, and I'm one of those people. But, in general, women, we are not obligated to do anything for men if we're not married to them. And, they like to push us down into this place of thinking that we are obligated. They try to push us into this place of lowliness and of oppression, that we're obligated to do anything for them, that we're obligated to have sex with them, that we're obligated to, try to capture their attentions. It's just, they also try to normalize things. So if there are people trying to show you videos about, or songs about, sexual exploitation and rape and whatnot, trying to show you that it's cool or that it's funny, it's not cool and it's not funny. And, and it's not okay to normalize these things, especially because you're setting an example for children who see these things and then go out into the world and then think that it's okay, or that it's funny, or that it's a joke to be a pedophile, or that it's a joke to be a rapist. It's not a joke. When you talk about these things, you need to come from a place of seriousness and education. Because, this is a huge problem. There are millions of sex slaves in the world right now. Children die in cages before they ever even get to live their lives. It is just so awful and sad. So, you never think about when you're marrying someone. People tend not to stop and think, like, would this person molest my kids? Would this person begin to beat me? Do I like this person when they're drunk? Does this person start to scare me when they're drunk? People just don't think about these things. They just live their lives as if we're safe. No one is safe, and we cannot trust anybody. There are so many horrible things that go on behind closed doors. There are people who enjoy molesting children for fun, and there might be someone who you work with who literally watches kiddie porn, goes home and watches kiddie porn. You can't trust anybody around you. And they act just like everyone else. They act normal and they put on their persona for the world. So just a tip for dating, and especially high schoolers, if someone only wants to hang out with you alone in a house, chances are they might only want to have you in that setting because they're planning on taking advantage of you or wanting to pressure you into having sex. If you ever feel pressured or obligated to do sexual acts for anybody, just get the fuck out of that situation. Get the fuck out of that group of people, because they will take advantage of you and they will ruin your life. The reality is that high schoolers take videos of each other raping unconscious girls. That happens right now. And it's happening too often. And these girls, they don't get to have good lives. After you go through something like that, everything changes. It's like losing a limb. You lose something and you can't get it back. So, I just want to point out some movies that are really good. The movies make things out to be a joke. But if you watch them from an analytical perspective rather than an entertainment perspective, there's a movie called How to Be a Player. And it exposes, some things that men do. Well, they'll have sex with a bunch of different girls at the same time, having each and every one of them believe that they're the only person who is being spoken to or led on. And it is just, it's a betrayal of trust. And it's just a big fat lie. And, I've heard men joke about, oh, all men lie. It's like, that's different. Like, you're hurting people if you do those things. And the movie Don't Be a Menace, it features a woman who's been raped and has had a baby and then gets passed on to someone else and is raped and has a baby and has all these different children from all these different fathers, and each and every father just leaves her. And the fact that men can get a woman pregnant and just leave her in the dust, alone. When you're pregnant, it's like if you don't have a man there to love you, then you're not going to have any love to flow through to that child. And so, when men just leave women, it is not setting that child up for a good life. That child's life is already kind of doomed, just because of their ignorance and their lack of caring. Anyways, so, a hoe, we're living in hoe culture. There's a song by Nicki Minaj called You're a Stupid Hoe. It's like, people who get raped do not appreciate you calling us stupid. Some people aren't educated on what a rapist is. Some people aren't educated on what a psychopath is. Children get raped. Children get called hoes. I just watched a video of a parent calling their own 12-year-old a hoe? This has gone way too far. 12-year-olds are not hoes. 12-year-olds are children. It is not okay to call anybody a hoe as if they are some sort of a tramp if they are underage. They're children. So, if somebody has sex with you and drops you, chances are they're doing that to break you in, planning on passing you around. Because that's something that people do, is they're just doing it for the next guy. So they're gonna, do something to you that's going to desensitize you to sex and cause you to hypersexualize yourself, because rape victims tend to hypersexualize themselves. And then, it might be because their other friends want to have sex with you, and so they're planning on passing you around. And that's what that movie Don't Be a Menace kind of displays that. And these things happen in ghettos, but they also happen to they can happen to anybody. It's just it's just so awful to me to think that people are so desensitized to people having sex with them that they can actually be okay with other people taking videos of them having sex with them. It's like porn stars, or pornography. A lot of it is just sexual exploitation. It's people who have been tricked into thinking that it's normal, or who are just so used to getting used and exploited sexually that they let people do horrible, painful things to them on video. And, they think that they're obligated to act a certain way to, pleasure somebody else. And, it's like, you're not obligated to do anything for anybody. It's just really sad. And, victims of sex trafficking, when they come out into this world, I believe that the media would be so antagonizing to them. Just people making jokes out of pedophilia rather than exposing it. It's harmful. And, I can only imagine just, the onslaught of media of all these songs about sex and, naked bodies and, sex this, sex that, and, love this, love that. It's like, how many people actually, are happy? That's not reality. This picture is painted for us, but it is not reality. It's just I want to see this world change so that it is a world for people who get sexually abused rather than a world against people who get sexually abused. And I just think that we all need to communicate with each other so that we can come to understanding of what is really going on.